Introduction. A clash of generations in WWE. In the ever-changing world of professional wrestling, rivalries often define eras. Some feuds take place inside the squared circle, while others quietly brew behind the curtain, fueled by creative decisions, fan reactions, and locker room politics. The latest buzz in WWE revolves around the possibility of a high-profile feud between two iconic names in the women's division: AJ Lee, a trailblazing star of the past, and Becky Lynch, one of the most decorated superstars of the present. Though the two never truly crossed paths in their primes, backstage chatter, fan theories, and hints from insiders suggest that WWE may be exploring ways to pit AJ Lee against the man, Becky Lynch. This potential feud is not just about two wrestlers but about two eras colliding: the Divas Revolution era symbolized by AJ Lee's fight for change, and the Women's Evolution that Becky Lynch helped lead to global recognition. AJ Lee's legacy, the voice of change. Before Becky Lynch became the man and ushered in mainstream attention for women's wrestling, AJ Lee was already breaking barriers. Signing with WWE in 2009, AJ climbed the ranks through NXT and the main roster with a unique personality, unmatched charisma, and undeniable passion for wrestling. Unlike many female performers at the time who were boxed into superficial storylines, AJ Lee embraced her geek goddess identity, connecting with fans on a personal level. She became a three-time Divas champion, holding the title for a record 295 days across her reigns. Beyond titles, AJ was a vocal advocate for giving women in WWE more screen time and meaningful storylines. Her famous pipe bombshell promo in 2013, where she criticized Total Divas cast members and called out management for underestimating female wrestlers, still resonates today. However, AJ's departure in 2015 left a void in the women's division. Many saw her as a bridge between the Divas era and the women's revolution that followed. Even in her absence, her influence lingered, inspiring wrestlers like Bayley, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, and of course, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch's rise to the top. Fast forward a few years, and Becky Lynch emerged as one of WWE's biggest superstars, not just among women but across the entire roster. Starting as the Irish Lass Kicker, Becky struggled to gain consistent momentum. However, her determination and resilience paid off when she reinvented herself as the man in 2018, after a heated rivalry with Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. Her newfound persona resonated with fans globally, positioning her as the face of the women's evolution. Becky became the first woman to win a WrestleMania main event, defeating Charlotte and Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 35. She went on to become a multiple-time women's champion and a cornerstone of WWE programming. If AJ Lee was the voice calling for change, Becky Lynch was the execution of that change on the grandest stage. This parallel makes the idea of an AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch feud even more intriguing. Backstage rumors. Seeds of a feud. In recent months, whispers in the wrestling community have suggested that WWE has reached out to AJ Lee about a possible return. While AJ has been involved with other projects outside WWE, including working alongside her husband CM Punk in different ventures, the allure of a high-profile WWE storyline could be difficult to resist. Insiders claim that one of the pitches discussed involves AJ Lee confronting Becky Lynch. The feud would center around respect, legacy, and the evolution of women's wrestling. Becky has often been portrayed as the pioneer who shattered glass ceilings, but AJ's return could challenge that narrative. After all, AJ was fighting for women's equality in WWE long before the man became a household name. Such a storyline would not only create an electric atmosphere among fans but also bridge the gap between two pivotal eras of WWE history. Possible creative tensions. While fans are thrilled about the possibility, backstage sources suggest that creative hurdles remain. One issue is how to position AJ Lee's return. Would she be welcomed back as a hero who paved the way, or portrayed as someone bitter that her contributions were overshadowed by the new generation? Becky Lynch, being one of WWE's top stars, is unlikely to take a backseat in the storyline. At the same time, AJ Lee's potential comeback demands significant attention, as fans have waited a decade to see her in action again. Balancing the spotlight between them could lead to creative disagreements behind the scenes. There's also the matter of ring rust. AJ has not competed in a WWE match since 2015, and while she has maintained an athletic lifestyle, stepping back into the ring against someone as physical as Becky Lynch would require careful planning. WWE officials would want to ensure that AJ looks competitive while protecting her health and legacy. Fan reactions and social media buzz. Even without official confirmation, the idea of AJ Lee vs. Becky Lynch has set social media ablaze. Fans have taken to Twitter, X, Instagram, and wrestling forums to fantasy book the rivalry. Memes, edits, and dream match posters are already circulating online, showing just how much anticipation surrounds this feud. Some fans argue that AJ Lee deserves to return for one last run and receive recognition for her contributions, while others believe the spotlight should remain on Becky, who continues to carry the women's division on her shoulders. Regardless of the debate, one thing is clear: a match between these two icons would generate massive attention, ticket sales, and viewership. WWE officials' perspective. From a business standpoint, WWE thrives on nostalgia mixed with fresh storylines. The return of legends has always been a successful formula, and AJ Lee is one of the most requested names among fans. Pairing her with Becky Lynch creates a money-making opportunity, especially if built around WrestleMania season. However, WWE officials are reportedly cautious. The company does not want AJ's return to feel forced or one-dimensional. Creative teams are brainstorming ways to make the feud meaningful, with layers of storytelling rather than a simple, past versus present, angle. There's talk of AJ calling out Becky for claiming to be the man, while overlooking the sacrifices of those who came before her. In response, Becky could argue that AJ walked away when things were tough, while she stayed and fought to put women in the main event. Such a narrative would blur the lines between reality and fiction, adding depth to their rivalry. Potential match outcomes. If WWE moves forward with this feud, several booking options could play out. 1. WrestleMania Dream Match. AJ Lee returns at the Royal Rumble, possibly as a surprise entrant, and sets her sights on Becky Lynch. This builds toward a marquee showdown at WrestleMania. 2. Long-term storyline. Instead of a one-off match, WWE could stretch the feud across months, with promos, backstage segments, and tag team matches leading up to their singles clash. 3. Passing the torch. The storyline could end with AJ Lee putting over Becky Lynch, solidifying Becky's legacy while giving AJ the farewell she deserves. 4. Shock victory for AJ. Alternatively, AJ could score a shocking win, opening doors for a short run where she proves she can still hang with today's best. What this feud means for women's wrestling. At its core, the AJ Lee vs. Becky Lynch rivalry is bigger than just two names. It represents the progress of women's wrestling in WWE. AJ was the spark that lit the fire, while Becky was the flame that carried it to new heights. Seeing them collide would symbolize how far the division has come, from 5-minute matches in the Divas era to main-eventing WrestleMania. For fans who lived through both eras, this feud would be nostalgic yet fresh. For new fans, it would be an introduction to AJ Lee's impact and a reminder of Becky Lynch's star power. Most importantly, it would highlight that women's wrestling is not a passing trend but a permanent and vital part of WWE's identity. Conclusion. A feud worth the hype. While nothing is official yet, the backstage chatter about a potential AJ Lee vs. Becky Lynch feud has captivated the wrestling world. If handled properly, this storyline could become one of the most iconic rivalries in WWE history. It's not just about wins and losses, it's about legacy, respect, and the evolution of women's wrestling. Whether it happens at WrestleMania, SummerSlam, or another grand stage, one thing is certain: AJ Lee vs. Becky Lynch is a dream match that fans would cherish for years to come. And in a business where moments define legacies, this is a moment WWE cannot afford to miss.